You feel it in your gut. Something's just off. Those late night texts that you know about, well, they quickly disappear before morning. The vague stories she tells you about what her and her friends were doing don't always make sense. Then there is the sudden emotional distance that you just can't figure out. Your mind is racing, trying to connect the dots, but all those thoughts, all those unanswered questions leave you with little more than more unanswered questions. What if I told you that you could finally cut through all that noise? What if you knew the exact lies that every cheater tells and the scripts that they all seem to follow? Over the past 2 decades, I have worked many a cheating spouse and infidelity case, so many I stopped counting them years ago. I have heard every excuse, seen every form of deception, and uncovered hundreds of affairs over the years. This video will reveal the top 5 lies told by unfaithful partners, be it a husband, a wife, or a significant other. Really quick, I want to send a thanks to all of my channel supporters out there. And if you want to know how to become a channel member and support the channel, click the join button down below for more information. This video is sponsored by OREP Insurance and Working PI Magazine. OREP is a leading provider of private investigator liability insurance. Visit orep.org for a quote today. Let's dive in with the classic lie. I am really busy at work these days. Yes, this is a classic. It seems to be the go-to excuse that sounds plausible. After all, work has kept them working overtime many times in the past. Thus, it makes this lie appear to be the perfect smokescreen. It starts out innocently enough, a few extra hours here, a few extra hours there, but hey, the overtime money is good, right? Then the late nights at the office start being more frequent. And let's not forget the unexpected business trips. And then the weekend work projects start piling up that never seemed to exist before. This is the lie that is designed to create time and space. Thus, it helps the cheater account for hours or even days of absence without raising any immediate alarms. You see, work is the perfect cover story. It's the cornerstone of so many affairs because it exploits a partner's trust and their respect for your career. Most people want to be supportive of their partner's ambitions, and a cheater knows this and weaponizes this. They're not just saying they're busy, they're rebuilding a fortress of legitimacy around their absence. It's hard to question. If you push back, you risk looking demanding or non-supportive. I have seen this show up in predictable patterns too. It's rarely just one late night. It starts as a slow creep. First, a meeting runs a little late. Then a new demanding project gets announced at the last minute. Soon there are team dinners, then weekend business travel trips. Each of these events are framed as a professional obligation, a demand even from the boss. I have to get this done or look for another job. What the faithful partner doesn't see is that these obligations are perfectly structured to accommodate the cheater's secret life. The cheater is essentially creating a parallel schedule. They'll use real work events as a launch pad, telling their partner a conference is 3 days long when it's really only 2, thus giving them a full, unaccounted for day. It's a deception built on half-truths, and those are always the hardest to identify. It's incredible how it preys on the partner's desire to be supportive, too. In essence, this lie minimizes what we refer to as cognitive dissonance. The cheater feels guilty, but justifying their absence as a work necessity helps them rationalize their own behavior. They tell themselves, I'm not a bad person having an affair. I'm a dedicated employee who has to work long hours, and this helps them reframe their deceit as a sacrifice. I had a case with a client, we'll call her Sarah, who was suspicious of her husband, who was a marketing executive at a very large corporation. He always worked standard 9 to 5 schedules, but then suddenly he was gunning for a promotion. It started with staying late to finish a proposal, but then came the networking dinners. Now, Sarah wanted to be supportive, so she would make him late dinners and didn't complain, even though she had taken notice that he was always tired, distant, and disinterested. But her gut, her feelings deep down inside were screaming. The final straw was a last minute business trip to a city just a few hours away. He claimed it was a 2-day conference. The psychological toll on Sarah was huge. She felt guilty for doubting him, thinking he's working so hard for us and I'm here being suspicious. This is the truly gradual, subtle way this lie works against the faithful partner. It basically makes the faithful partner, the victim, question their own sanity. When we investigated, we found the conference was just a single-day event. He spent the extra day and night with another woman. The lie wasn't just about creating time, though. It was about manipulating Sarah's emotions to make his betrayal that much easier for him to get away with. Then there is the he or she is just a friend lie. This is the lie that redefines boundaries and seems very dismissive. It is used to normalize a connection that feels inappropriate, to brush off that gut feeling that the friendship is way more than it seems. The cheater insists that you're just being jealous. You are just too insecure, all the while fostering an emotional or physical connection right under your nose. This lie is incredibly damaging because it's a direct attack on the faithful partner's intuition. When your partner tells you you're imagining things, he's just a friend, they're actively trying to rewrite your reality. This is actually just another form of gaslighting. They basically make you feel crazy for noticing the constant texting, the private jokes, the inappropriate level of emotional intimacy. The cheater is essentially saying, your feelings are invalid. My relationship with this other person is more important than your peace of mind. Based on my experience, these lies, these type of emotional affairs often lead to full-blown affairs too. I worked with a client whose wife had a new work husband. Where the heck did that terminology come from anyway? And whoever thought it was appropriate to use? Anyway, she always insisted it was harmless, but she was sharing intimate details about her marriage with him, her work husband, complaining all the time about her real husband and turning to this other man for emotional support. She wasn't sleeping with him yet, but she had already transferred her emotional loyalty to him. The lie, he's just a friend, was her justification to continue this emotional betrayal without feeling guilty. Now, as a PI, when it comes to conducting surveillance, one of the things we watch out for are behaviors that indicate not only affairs, but also affectionate activities. You know what? Friends don't typically meet in dimly lit bars on the other side of town. Friends don't usually sit in a parked car for an hour or so just talking. The biggest red flags we see is a change in routine centered around this friend. The cheater suddenly has new hobbies that align with their friend's hobbies. We also watch and document their body language. Are their long, almost groping like hugs when they meet, or do they sit unusually close to each other? Another key thing we document is the lingering goodbye. A normal farewell is quick. A wave, a see you later, and then you get in your car and you go. But we often see them talking for another 20 minutes or so by their cars after dinner, followed by that long, meaningful, grope-like hug. Another huge sign is when they go to great lengths to avoid being seen together in public where they might run into someone they know. They'll choose restaurants or other meeting places far from their neighborhood or far from the office. This is the number one indicator that the relationship is something they know they need to hide. The lie is that it's an open friendship, but the reality is they're actively concealing the relationship. The digital communication between just friends can be a huge tell too if you can prove it is happening. What they will often do is use apps like Snapchat or Instagram DMs instead of regular text messages or emails, then delete those messages. A closely tied lie to the he is just a friend lie is the I was out with my friend lie, and they tell you who they were with or who they want you to believe they were with. This is what we also often refer to as the alibi lie. It is a step up in deception because it involves recruiting a third party, a co-conspirator, if you will. The cheater uses a loyal friend as a cover story, creating a seemingly unbreakable alibi. They weren't in a hotel room with their lover, they were at the game with Mark or at a girls' night with Jessica. The alibi is a double-edged sword for the cheater. On one hand, it feels strong because they have a witness. On the other, they've just created another weak link in their chain of lies. The more people involved in a lie, the harder it is to keep the story straight. The friend might forget the details, mix up the dates, or just get tired of lying for the friend. One thing for sure, in my humble opinion, the cheater who asks a friend to lie for them is showing a major character flaw. They aren't just betraying their partner, they are betraying their friend and turning that friend's trust into nothing more than a lie. It usually doesn't take long for the friend to, well, stop being a friend and stop covering for the cheater. Now, I am about to reveal the top 2 lies, but if this is hitting home for you, take a second to hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and if you are watching on mobile, hype the video. And if you would like to know how to become a channel member and support the PI Guide channel, click the join button down below for more details. The no communications lie is one of the biggest lies we often see. You know, the I didn't have service. My cell phone died. I didn't get your text until I was on my way home lie. This is what we call the communications blackout lie. It's the excuse for going off the grid for hours and being completely unreachable. Your calls go straight to voicemail. Your texts go unanswered or are undeliverable. When they finally do reappear, it's always a technical failure, a dead battery, a spotty network, the phone was left in the car. All of these excuses are designed to make their unavailability seem accidental, not deliberate. Yeah, on the surface, this does seem plausible to a point. We have all had our phones die on us. We all run into those blackout, no signal areas of town. But when it becomes the norm rather than the exception, well, that could be a sign of something amiss. The cheater uses technology, or rather technological failures, to create an alibi for their absent chunks of time. You see, blaming technology gets them off the hook. It wasn't that they chose to ignore you. The tech simply let them down again. Oftentimes, though, this lie is not just a form of deception, it's also a test. The first time they use it, they're watching your reaction. If you accept it, you've just shown them that this is a great way to create blocks of unaccountable time. They will use it again to be sure. You see, it's also a form of passive aggression. By making themselves unreachable, they are exerting control over you and creating emotional distance. It sends a subconscious message. I am not available to you. And for the partner on the receiving end, it creates huge anxiety. You call, you leave a voicemail, you send a text, you get no reply. Then your mind races. Where is he? What is she doing? Is he okay? When they finally do call back hours later with their casual, I am sorry my phone died excuse, the relief you feel so often is so great that you don't even question the lie. Now, the one we hear about the most is the you're crazy or you're just being paranoid lie. I know it's not a lie. It's not an alibi. This form of gaslighting is a direct assault on your sanity. When you confront them with your suspicions, when you present the evidence you've carefully gathered, they don't defend themselves. Instead, they attack you, they accuse you, making themselves the victim. They tell you you're imagining things, you're insecure, you're the one with the problems, but this is the ultimate deception. Their goal is to make you stop trusting the single most important tool you have, your own mind. I often refer to this as the most destructive lie of all. It's not about hiding any actions. It's about destroying the other person's confidence and sense of reality. In all my years of being a private investigator, the clients who have been told this usually bear the greatest marks of emotional damage. They come to us completely broken, questioning everything they believe, everything they see, and everything they feel. The cheater uses this tactic as a last line of defense. When the evidence is overwhelming, they turn the tables and go on the offensive. They'll say things like, "You are so controlling," or "You need to see a therapist about your trust issues," or the classic, "You're pushing me away with all of this craziness." They create this smokescreen of chaos to distract you from their own behavior. We have seen many times where cheaters intentionally provoke arguments too, just so they can storm out of the house and use the fight as an excuse to go see their affair partner. This lie works because it taps into our deepest fears. We don't want to be irrational. We don't want to be the crazy one. The cheater knows this and they exploit that fear to maintain control. So there you have it. The top 5 lies from the classic "I'm busy with work" to the direct attack of "You're crazy." Now keep in mind, these deceptions usually follow predictable patterns. The common thread in all of this is the importance of trusting your own intuition. That feeling in your gut isn't always paranoia. It may simply be pattern recognition.